Hey, Sugar Plum, how'd you make out with a hothead?
I heard that, you snowball.
Oh, my goodness. Speak of the devil.
Madam, kindly...
Oh, hi. You've caught me over-analyzing an old stop animation film known as The Year Without a Santa Claus. We're going to straight up over-analyze it, but what it's basically about is Santa Claus has a cold, and Mrs. Claus goes around searching for what seems to be the problem, which leads to her getting stuck in the crossfire between these two elemental entities. Some people think are demonic entities, known as Snow Miser and Heat Miser. Now, this song's been stuck in my brain, and I've been wearing Heat Miser's hat for half the winter here. So we're going to check out the dialogue between these two. Actually, this is the dialogue here. I'll link to this video. It's a conversation that these two brothers, the elemental force of cold and the elemental force of hot. Anyway, it's from a 1974 Christmas stop-motion animated television special known as The Year Without a Santa Claus. It's often featured, even currently, prime time around Christmas time, in a completely unedited, no commercials, a commercial-free format. And anyway, Santa gets a cold, yada, yada, yada. It's owned by AMC, I think now, Time Warner, one of those giants. And you've got Snow Miser, played by Dick Shawn, and George S. Irving plays Heat Miser. Let's check out the song. It's a super famous song. Don't get it stuck in your head. I warn you now, our viewers. Beware. It may be too catchy for your brain to be able to handle. So anyway, what happens here is Mrs. Claus recruits two elves, and I don't know who this kid is, but she recruits two elves, and she takes Blitzen, or one of the reindeer. She ends up getting in the middle of this argument between Heat Miser and Snow Miser.
Here he comes now, the big hand.
So it's a very demonic-looking entity here. It's this guy who's, I don't know, I think he's about 8 feet tall. I'm not exactly sure. Got a giant nose, and he represents the elemental force of cold itself. And he not only has the ability to touch things and turn them into snow, but he also is able to transmogrify things from snow back into other objects again, which you'll see him do eventually.
Friends call me Snow Miser. Whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch.
So he just turned his hat to snow, and yeah. So he's got some rather odd set of skills there, if you ask me.
I'm too much.
And now you just saw him turn his hat back, his snow back into a hat. So now I'm not sure which you think is scarier, that he's able to turn objects into snow or turn snow into objects. They're both pretty freaking creepy if you ask me, but as he is an elemental force of nature, who knows what he's capable of.
He's Mr. Icicle. He's Mr. Timberlow. Friends call me Snow Miser.
Anyway, I'm not going to release any lyrics. We may have to do a rendition of this on the label. He doesn't enjoy warm days.
Have a 30 when he gets 5 and then free.
Yeah, so that's in a nutshell, that's Snow Miser. Some consider a demonic entity. I would say more like an elemental entity. I would note that he must represent high pressure since he seems to spin clockwise. And we hope we're doing enough analysis to not get banned from the internet and deplatformed entirely.
Too much. Stop by with your hubby sometime and we'll have a blizzard.
Stop by with your hubby sometime and we'll have a blizzard. Anyway, they're trying to reach an agreement here about the environment, the climate, perhaps. So
Frank would say that.
they've got to go meet up with Heat Miser. Now, Heat Miser, the lyrics I do remember for Heat Miser, they are as follows. He's Mr. Green Christmas, he's Mr. Sun, he's Mr. Heat Blister, he's Mr. 101. They call him Heat Miser. Whatever he touch melts within his clutch. He's too much. Check it out. He lives in a volcano, by the way. No surprise there.
I'm Mr. Green Christmas. I'm Mr. Sun.
Now you notice that his minions are actually little tiny flames dancing around on pogo sticks. See, everything is properly characterized in this insane little story here. Heat Miser versus Snow Miser.
I touch, start to melt in my clutch. I'm too much.
Now I'm not so sure that he recreates any objects that he melts. It's just these things just seem to turn to lava when Heat Miser touches them. And again, there's his minions, very similar to Cold Miser's minions. And anyway, what they're trying to do here is reach an agreement. Heat Miser wants to thaw the North Pole, and Cold Miser, oh yeah, that's one of the creepier things. There you go. Heat Miser reaches up and melts part of the crescent moon, so that if you want to be freaked out by the elemental forces of nature, what is up with that? Does Heat Miser represent a plasma discharge, or what's the deal with that? Super freaking creepy.
I would gladly risk feeling bad at times, if it also meant that I could taste my dessert.
By the way, to quote Data from Star Trek TNG, I would gladly risk feeling bad at times if it also meant that I could taste my dessert.
He's too much. Thank you. I never want to know.
Anyway, Heat Miser likes it when it's 100 degrees, and Snow Miser likes it when it's ready to freeze. So anyway, recommend you watch The Year Without a Santa Claus if you like your stop-motion classics. I believe it's by the same folks as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but don't quote me on that. Now, oh, also one other thing. I would note this little scene here. When he stands in between mirrors, look what happens. He's casting light and creating like a light vortex inside the mirrors until he reaches out and melts the mirrors themselves. Oops. Anyway, they call him Heat Miser. Whatever he touch melts within his clutch. He's too much. Now we're going to watch Christmas Break-In tonight. So this one doesn't really have a Rotten Tomatoes setting yet or anything. It hasn't been reviewed by enough people yet, I don't think. So perhaps have a watch tonight. It is on Netflix. By the way, thanks for everybody tuning in on Twitch. Cheers. We gotta transmit some actual gaming on here once I get my skills back. So let me just play a couple clips from the Christmas Break-In trailer here and keep us from getting copyright struck. Now this one does star Danny Glover.
You excited?
No, I'm not talking about Christmas. That only happens once a year.
Anyway, some sort of, looks like it could be a pretty bad movie. Please leave a comment if you're aware of whether or not Danny Glover thinks the earth is banana-shaped and whether or not sheep's bladders may be employed to prevent earthquakes. Here's another short clip. It'll be less than 8 seconds. Anyway, Christmas Break-In, we're going to watch it, and perhaps you'll be interested in doing it too. We'll let you know what we think afterwards. I literally just searched for Christmas on Netflix. This one came out in 2019, and it's got a pretty bad score from audiences. And it's fun watching bad movies, folks. I don't know if you're aware. Again, thanks for tuning in, Twitch. Yeah, I'm Mr. Heat Blister. I'm Mr. Sun. I'm Mr. Green Christmas. I'm Mr. 101. By the way, check out our video from earlier today on Twitch. The thumbnail that got picked was was actually this image. It just pretty much randomly gets picked. We don't do any editing or anything like that on Twitch, obviously, because it's a live stream. But yeah, censors indicate censorship, fraud, political bias, and spyware emanating from big tech. Are you gonna check us out on the solstice? It's only less than 3 days away, folks. 2 days and 8 hours. We'll be transmitting for 1 hour, talking about whatever we want on the solstice live stream. So check us out Saturday night. If you can peel yourself away from boring non-jokes on SNL. I'm not sure who will be hosting, but by the way, follow us on Instagram too if you like. We couldn't help but take a screenshot of that Spock meme. Man, oh man. By the way, also check us out on other social media, such as BitChute. We upload everything to there. And also Gab. I just started gabbing. See, here's an exclusive post. Let's start gabbing, folks. Get a Gab account. It's the alternative to Twitter. And I don't think you get censored there. I'm not totally sure. Also, check us out on YouTube. Please don't forget to press like and subscribe. We're really concerned whether or not we'll reach 1,500 subscribers. And there's the Minds page. Also, please consider becoming a patron, as we are on the ground level of a lot of different things. And patrons typically see the stuff first. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Now, don't forget to stay tuned for one bonus feature. Yeah, we're gonna be Mr. Green Christmas, Mr. Sun, Mr. Heat Blister, Mr. 101, and show a quick image of the local yellow dwarf. It's 171 angstroms. And I don't think that turned into a sunspot, folks. Do you have an opinion? I have not been watching. Anyway, you see this active region up here. I guess I'll have to look. I have no choice. How about the colored intensity gram? And do we see umbra? I do not see any umbra, folks. It's just a cycle 25 plage. Anyway, we're out. Thanks for tuning in. Have a watch of Christmas Break-In if you like. And put the year without a Santa Claus on your list. Stare at the sun, don't drink, yada, yada, yada. Talk to you soon.